ADHD is a mental disorder that is most commonly found in children, and contrary to popular thought, about 90% of children don't outgrow it. Although the symptom of physical hyperactivity in children with ADHD can go away in adulthood, ADHD for adults has other symptoms such as impulsive behavior, inability to focus properly, and becoming easily bored. All of these symptoms can be easily exploited by using the internet and technology in a problematic way. If you suffer from ADHD and you want to know how to manage it better, then the problem might not be the mental disorder itself, but the thing that is in your pocket, your smartphone. Hi, my name is Cam Adair, and I'm the founder of GameQuitters.com. As someone diagnosed with ADHD, I know too well the struggles with technology. And every day we work with clients, both gamers and families, that are struggling with this as well. Timmy is an example of this. When he was young, he was an active kid who couldn't sit for one place very long, often getting distracted, and teachers noticed it. They notified his parents, and soon the boy was diagnosed with ADHD. It's not a problem, the parents thought. He'll grow out of it. When Timmy entered adulthood, although hyperactivity was gone, Timmy still found himself unable to concentrate on his university work without becoming distracted by scrolling on TikTok. And he often bought video games impulsively when he saw ads for Steam sales, even though that money was actually meant for school. He would also get hooked and scroll for 20 minutes at a time when his original intention was just to check one notification. Timmy didn't think he had ADHD anymore and thought that he only had a bad habit of using the internet and technology for long periods of time. In reality, Timmy suffered from ADHD, and his addiction to the internet only made his symptoms worse. The truth is, Timmy is not alone, and millions of people out there are struggling not only with ADHD, but with internet addiction. So what is it about ADHD that leads to internet addiction? And what strategies can you put in place so you can thrive in a tech-centric world? Make sure you watch the entire video where we'll talk not just about what makes you vulnerable, but also the strategies that you can put into place. According to a 2017 systematic review on the association between ADHD and internet addiction was found to be positively associated with ADHD among both adolescents and amongst young adults. This is not surprising, as if we take a look at the symptoms of ADHD, hyperactivity, impulsivity, and the inability to focus, these are symptoms that will make you more vulnerable to the high stimulating and distracting nature of internet and technology. Things like video games, social media, an infinite amount of content to consume, and endless sources of entertainment, all of these can actually make your ADHD symptoms worse. If we take gaming as an example, video games are designed to be hyper stimulating and provide a lot of goal setting. You need to beat this boss, get this weapon, and finish this mission. There's always a goal and a structure to work towards. People with ADHD often struggle with internal motivation, and gaming provides not only a fun, exciting experience that captures your attention, but external motivation to complete the goals within the game. There are also a ton of deceptively designed microtransactions that prey on your impulsivity and fear of missing out. Since you are so stimulated all the time and jump from one game to another at the first sign of boredom, this decreases your ability to pay attention properly. As you can see, all these ADHD symptoms connect with each other and worsen because of this type of internet addiction. Another example of somebody with ADHD suffering more because of internet addiction is with social media. If you can't focus normally on the task at hand and you have a device where you can just go and get rid of this boredom and not spend any mental energy, then it makes sense how a person with ADHD would be more vulnerable. Social media preys on impulsivity, inability to focus, and boredom, and promises a cure for all of these things. So you check your phone to see what time it is, you see a TikTok notification, and you go over and tap to open up the app. That's your impulsivity being manipulated. The red badge is a design feature. It's not there for your best interest. So now you're on the app and you watch a few TikToks, but then you find yourself scrolling and scrolling. And that's your inability to focus and time blindness being exploited. If we're talking about ADHD and internet addiction from a neuroscience perspective, studies show that sufferers of ADHD also suffer from low dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter in the brain that is responsible for motivation. Rewards that engage more motivational behavior towards something tend to be triggered by dopamine. Having low dopamine may cause someone to actually fail to engage with focus, as high levels of dopamine help shut out unnecessary visual and auditory information. Also, low levels of dopamine can cause a person to lose motivational salience, which means a person becomes less likely to be disciplined towards a future goal. If you want to learn more in depth about the neuropsychology of the brain, check out my video on gaming and the brain. Now, these are just a few examples of many of how a person who suffers from ADHD is worse off when it comes to using the internet and technology, and why it may be necessary for someone with ADHD to set strong boundaries. Now, let's talk about just that. What are some ways that someone with ADHD can survive or even thrive in a tech-centric world? If you already suffer from ADHD, then start with understanding if you need medication, psychological help, or both of these things. Some people can find great success in medication, while others in just having some self-improvement or some specific executive functioning skills. The key is to understand how your ADHD can be improved and the way that you live your life. For me personally, as someone with ADHD, I've been both on and off medication, and that's been a journey I've had over the last 20 years. Personally, I'm a big fan of Russell Barkley's work, which you can find lectures on YouTube, and the channel How to ADHD is also a great source of tips and information. Next, you need to ask yourself if things on the internet or the way you use technology actually improve your life or if they hinder it. Once you've come up with the answer for yourself, and let's be honest, that answer is probably that most of the things that you're doing online or with your phone or the apps that you use aren't really worth it, then you can start to decide if you want to limit or quit those entirely. Again, this will be an individual experience, so you have to figure it out for yourself. But understanding your own relationship with technology and how to thrive and not be overwhelmed is really crucial. For example, I actively avoid shorts content because I find that it's just going to train my brain to be more distracted, especially in moments where I feel a bit bored. And the content itself, I don't know, I guess I describe it as kind of low value trash. You can check out my video on TikTok and what it's actually doing to your brain if you want to learn more about that. I also use things like newsfeed blockers, so if I open Facebook to send a message to someone for something work related, I don't get distracted by the feed. With ADHD and technology, you really want to be thinking about the environment you're creating for yourself and using apps or time blockers appropriately to do that. People with ADHD usually suffer from a common symptom of impulsivity, so having a schedule or really setting time limits with your apps make a big difference. For example, if you use ADHD and you are medicated, maximize your productive work during the hours that your medication is most active. If you aren't medicated, you will also want to identify what times of the day you have the best focus and be diligent about using that time for productive work. For me, that's first thing in the morning. Other times of the day, it can get extremely difficult for me to be productive. And so I really need that morning time to take advantage of it. I also think it's really helpful to control the environment on your phone. So delete unwanted apps or get rid of apps that just continuously cause you issues. For example, I delete Reddit off my phone and reinstall it if I want to use it. That way I'm less impulsive and it takes more effort for me to be distracted. You can also try logging out of your accounts because again, when you have to log back in, it creates more friction and makes it more difficult to become distracted. Of course, most people will not be able to do this alone, so I do recommend to have accountability and support from other people. That could be finding a forum online that helps people with ADHD, speaking with professionals, or joining the Game Quitters Discord, which is full of people who are on the same journey as you. We also have a mental health channel in there where you can post individual questions and people will be in there to support you. Now, it's important for me to note that if you are on Discord, make sure you turn your notifications off unless they're absolutely necessary. So again, it's a platform that's supporting your growth and not distracting you from your mission. Now, before we wrap up, I want to share some hope. With ADHD, I know it can be very challenging to live with and difficult to function normally. I have it myself. But ADHD can also be a superpower. It can be an incredible gift and it can help you be more successful. You need to learn how to use its superpowers and limit the opportunities for it to create problems. Now, the reality is that having ADHD makes you more vulnerable with the internet. So you need to create the right system for you to stay healthy and productive. To understand more about why apps like TikTok are so bad for people with ADHD and the other issues that they can cause, not just of distraction, but also making your mental health worse, watch my video on TikTok.